It's waiting for a discoverer. Go and find it.
The last people that saw this ship were the people that went down on it.
Do you mind just giving us a brief background of how you got into shipwreck hunting?
To get into hunting for shipwrecks, it was kind of by chance. Johnny, who's part of the team, he was with some friends and they had a fishing spot out of Dampier that they would go to, and it was just like, this is really weird. It's in the middle of nowhere, it's in the sand, but there's always so many fish on this spot. So his curiosity got the better of him. He tied an underwater camera to a rope and just threw it over the side, and the boat drifted over. And when they pulled it up and they looked at the footage, they realised that it was the footage of these big masts. And, further investigation, they figured out that it was a shipwreck, and then they figured out that it was an unknown shipwreck. So that's where our very first shipwreck discovery happened, and that was the catalyst for getting season 1 of Shipwreck Hunters Australia on Disney+.
It is one wild place. It is a great white hot spot. There's no boats out here whatsoever. We're very remote. You are kidding me. I think we've found it.
We may have found it.
And then if we flash forward to the Rodondo discovery, when did you find this ship? Also, when did you decide to look for it? Like, are you looking for a very specific wreck? How did it come about?
Yeah, it's often referred to as looking for the eye of a needle in a field of haystacks, because it's just so difficult to actually find one, and the ocean is so big. And when you go and you're looking for something that's 50 metres long or 70 metres long, you really start to realise just how big it is. So in order to find a wreck, it's a little bit like solving a crime. You've got to go through the annals of history. You've got to get newspaper clippings and reports, and you've got to sort of piece it all together. And these are reports from 130 years ago. And often the reports are from the captain or the first mate or crew that are trying to take stock of where they are during a wrecking event. So it's traumatic, it's chaos, but a lot of the reports and the bearings that they were taking during that wrecking event were actually fairly accurate. You're using landmarks, using distance from a certain point. So that's your starting point. And then we sort of implement theories around wind and current, and if it floated for a little bit longer, where could it be? And you're sort of using that. And then we introduce new technology, which is side scan and magnetometer equipment, which we tow behind the boat, that allows us to pick up ferrous metals, and also it paints a picture of the sea floor, so you can get a 2D image of what the sea floor looks like. So then your eyes are sort of narrowed in on looking for stuff that doesn't look geological, stuff that doesn't look like rocks or reef. It's a man-made shape. So we spend hours and hours and hours and days what we call mowing the lawn. So you're just going up and back, over these patches of ocean, hoping to find that undiscovered shipwreck. So it's a really long process. There's a lot of research that goes into it first. There's a team of researchers that help us. It's not just us, 4 adventurers going out. There's a whole production team behind us that we all come together and we nut it out. And we honestly just sit around with a beer and we're like, what about if it did this and it was underwater but it still floated, and the current, and they did say there was a southerly wind that day, so it could be here. And you just start coming up with all these different scenarios and you just have to flesh it out. What we really love is the compelling stories. It could be an easy to find wreck, but there's no cool story. Everyone got off, no one was hurt, nothing funny in that. So we look at the backstory, what happened to the survivors, what was the wrecking event like, was the captain the mysterious guy, what can we build out into a really compelling episode? And that drives a lot of the decisions on what wrecks we look for. And there was some good accounts, and the survival story was really cool, and the backstory was really cool. Like, they hit the reef at 2 o'clock in the morning, they're all in their pyjamas, and it was chaos, and they're getting thrown into the Southern Ocean, which is freezing cold, and heaps of great whites. And actually, there was an infant, like a tiny little kid, that they just tied to a life buoy, like an orange life ring, tied a baby to it, threw it in the water, and luckily someone scooped it out. So crazy stories like that. But then we got to track down those kids that were on board. We actually tracked down descendants of those children, and those children grew up to have quite decorated lives. Like they were war heroes, and they were medals of honor and stuff. And we found a guy who was related to them as this great grandma that was one of these kids, and he had no idea about his family history. He had no idea that they'd been through that wrecking event. So it was amazing to be able to connect those family threads, and now that legacy of that family and all of the Rodondo and everything is now passed down to the next generation, which is really, really cool. And we got to show him the Rodondo, like the wreck on the seafloor, how it looks now, and he was just blown away. It was so cool.
It's incredible. It's so clear, isn't it?
It was just something that we'll never forget, and I'm really excited for you to share that with us.
No, thank you. It's fantastic.
Can you talk me through how long were you looking for? And then what was that moment like when you first saw the wreck?
It's so crazy because we tried 3 times to find that one. There's nothing between us and Antarctica, and we get smashed by this huge storm. It's like 60 knot winds, 9 metre swells. It's like horrendous. Everyone's seasick. So that was a failed attempt. We had to run away with our tail between the legs. And then we went back again. So it was best part of 4 weeks of looking for this thing in really rough weather, really rough seas. And you have to, once the equipment is out the back of the boat, you just have to look at a laptop screen for 8 hours, and the boat's heaving up and down. You're in a stuffy little cabin. So it's hard work.
That's the ship!
Oh my goodness.
That is it!
Hang on. Is it?
Look at it!
Right, how long is it?
Are you sure?
It's like, it's the
look
right
at it.
size.
It's
When we did have that moment, when we did drive over it after so many disappointing efforts, and you start to see it come down on the screen, you see the shape of the boat, we absolutely just lost our mind. We just can't believe it. It's hugging, it's high fives, it's screaming, crying. It's just the most incredible experience because, one, it's so rare. It's so hard to do and it's so rare. And you get to do it with your best mates, which is so fun. And we just knew that we'd done something that 1% of the population in the world will ever get to do. Like, they're just so hard to find. And we found 2 in a year, which is crazy.
Wow. And then what happens when you find it?
Well, after all the high fives and jumping around, it's really deep. That one is in 70 metres of water, so we couldn't dive it. But the idea is to get as much footage and data as you can on the wreck site, because we can take that back to the WA Museum. They can analyse it. We can create 3D models out of the footage so you can really see in detail, and it can be shared around amongst all the academics. So we send an ROV over, a little remote operated vehicle with thrusters and a camera, and we survey the whole site, and you get that first look at what the wreck looks like, and no one's seen it for 130 years. So you have the excitement of the initial discovery, and then you have the excitement again of first eyes on the wreck and seeing what it looks like. It's like this beautiful, big old skeletal ship, but the amount of marine life on there is just amazing. These just swarms and swarms of fish. Sometimes you can't even see the wreck for the fish. Like, it's just so much. Would never have been fished before, would never seen human contact before. It's like pure. Shipwrecks in Australia, the legislation and the rules are everything stays where it is. There's no need to bring anything up. So there's no treasure hunting, there's no pilfering. Everything stays where it is, because if people just start taking everything off the wreck, the whole story that's down there just becomes bits and pieces, and it's all just pulled apart. And it's not worth anything anyway. There's no treasure chests or diamond necklaces or jewels or things down there. These are working boats. So it's better off left where it is. We are getting inundated with messages from all around the world. It goes out to 150 million homes worldwide, and we're getting so many messages from Japan, Berlin, Louisiana, like everywhere, just saying thank you so much for creating conversations around the ocean and maritime history. And now my kids want to be free divers or snorkelers. They've never been to the ocean before, but that's what they want to do. So it's generating conversation, and it's sparking interest in marine life and marine conservation, which we want to push. So sometimes it's really surreal to know just how far it reaches, and it's really put WA on the map. All that loss, all that pain, we're part of that story now.
Bloody hardcore.
Can't wait.